Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of Beyond Ideas podcast. Today, we are going to talk about the pain of procrastination. So, you are super welcome here. My name is Jorge Surya, or my artist name is like that. And I am just beginning this journey of recording a podcast and talking about different topics, especially with a perspective or with a lens on seeing at life topics with spirituality in a way. And so, yeah, you're super welcome. I think that today can be an interesting episode. I hope so. And first of all, I just want to share that today has been a bit of a difficult day because I was recording this episode and suddenly I realized that the microphone was not working and I've spent for like an hour and a half trying to make it work. So yeah, procrastination is fantastic. Anyways, yeah, super welcome. Yeah, let's start with like procrastination in itself. I don't think I can teach you much about procrastination because we all have our own perspective on it. And if you go to the internet and you type procrastination or how to deal with it or like whatever it is, you're probably going to find a million videos on it, everyone telling you their truth. And I'm sure like many of those videos are very, very helpful. So I am actually not here to tell you how to beat procrastination and give you like the magic pill and like suddenly your life is going to be fixed, because I don't believe it works like that. I believe that everyone has their own way of processing their issues and their things in life. What I want to tell you for sure is that I want to give you sort of like a different perspective on how to look at procrastination, especially coming from self-knowledge and getting to know yourself and what's going on there, and actually maybe even giving you some sort of tips to look inside and see what's happening, right? Why is it happening to you? Like, why are you procrastinating on some things? So yeah, I hope that happens, and then whatever happens, happens. I cannot promise so much. So yeah, I wanted to start by really talking to you in a way, because I believe that most people somehow, somewhat, or in one way or another, have suffered procrastination in their lives. I hope that everyone has. And then of course, some people may experience a lot more and some people may struggle a lot less with procrastination, but we all are adults here, I hope, or we're trying to become adults, at least on the mind. And we all cook our food and do our dishes and all that. And who has not put their dishes to do the next day? Or who has not said, oh, I need to do laundry, I have very little clothes. And then the days pass and you're running out of underwear and you just procrastinate on doing the laundry. Or who has not been at school and you need to do homework or you need to write a paper and you just like let it until the last minute and then get it done at the end, or maybe not even get it done. So yeah, I hope that you can resonate with this procrastination. Maybe it's not a big issue for you. Maybe you have found different methods in your life where you are like, yeah, not really putting the dishes till the day after, or not really putting some of those things that you want to do until later. So I really congratulations if you are at that point. I think like that's quite nice. But then there's also other things that we procrastinate on, like for example, let's say working out. Maybe you work out regularly, and if you do, you're awesome. I also do. I've been doing it for some years now, and it's fantastic. But maybe you don't. Maybe you are one of those that think about, I really want to work out more. I want to do some more exercise. And then maybe you tell yourself, okay, I'll start on Monday, or okay, I'll sign up to the gym next month, or okay, like all these excuses in a way, or more than excuses, just like stories in the mind that we tell ourselves on like things that we want to do, like working out, or you start in New Year's, or you want to lose weight or eat better, like whatever it is. So I think that procrastination can apply to many, many topics in life. Or like responding some emails from work that you really are like dreading, or like taking days, or some messages on the phone that it's like a person that you really want to respond, but you just put off, and just take like few days to respond to them. So So yeah, I hope that you can connect with yourself and you can connect with some topics in your life that where you can see how procrastination plays out inside of your life. And the thing with procrastination for me, like nowadays, we live in a very rich world in many ways and poor in others, but we have a lot of technology, and in a way technology is made for us to be engaged with it as much as possible. So technology can also be in a way a barrier in order to get to do some of those things, right? Because you got to think this way, or you don't have to do anything. But I invite you to think this way, that let's say you want to do an action. For myself, for today, it was like, I want to record an episode. And then from the moment that I thought of that, it's like, okay, I will do it in the evening after dinner. That's when I will do it. And I decided this in the morning. So then I spent the whole day in a way thinking about it, and in a way even suffering from it. Maybe today it wasn't like that so much, but it has been like that most of the times. So what I want to invite you is to think of like how much you are suffering before you get to do that specific thing. And then when, let's say, dishes, like something very simple, right? I think like doing the dishes, it's something that we all need to do after we cook. And they can stay there for a few days maybe, but at some point they need to get done. They're not going to be in the place without being washed for forever. That's just not going to happen if you live in a place where you cook. Yeah. So that little action, you can do it like after dinner tonight, or you can do it the day after, whenever it is. But what I wanted to talk before going into this procrastination thing, it was about like this technology that I was talking about, this internet. You know, we have like the phones, we have like the Netflix, we have like podcast games, like whatever. We have all sort of ways of coping in a way with the pain of doing that action. So for example, you just had dinner and you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna do the dishes right now. I just feel like I'm full and I want to lay on the couch, but I know I have to do it before I go to bed, or I have to do it tomorrow, you know? So we have these coping mechanisms. I don't know if you ever heard that word before, but if you don't, hopefully one day I'll do an episode on it because it's super fantastic. And otherwise, just research on what are coping mechanisms. So in a way, what I think coping mechanisms are, without going super deep into it, is like different ways of dealing with pain that we have to, in a way, soothe ourselves, or to numb ourselves, or to avoid feeling the pain. So instead of having dinner and just sitting on the couch and being like, oh, I feel so lazy, and I know I need to go to do the dishes, but I just feel so lazy, and just staying with it, staying with the pain, like, oh, where do I feel the pain in the body? Like, how does it feel in my body? Where is the discomfort? Where is that? Instead of doing that, you can pick your phone or you can watch a movie and not have to feel that pain. Okay? Now maybe with the dishes it's not so painful, but maybe let's put the workout thing. I think that exercise is part of life, and we all do in a way some part of some sort of exercise or another. And if you work out, you already know, and you also had a process on getting there. And if you don't work out, you also know the pain of wanting to do exercise and not being able to do it. So yeah, let's put that example. Let's imagine that you haven't worked out in some time, and you have been thinking about it, that is good for you, that you want to do some exercise, and then you say to yourself, okay, I just gonna start on Monday. The usual comment that we all have experienced sometime. I will start on Monday. So let's say that you tell that to yourself, and then just imagine the pain that you are feeling over that week, that you are thinking, okay, I need to start on Monday. So there is some pain already to be felt there, that you're not starting right away, or that you're not starting tomorrow, that you have to wait some days until you start. There's already some pain, or maybe not. Maybe that's already a coping mechanism, and you are like, okay, until Monday, I'm not going to worry about it. Wonderful. Now let's say that it gets to Monday actually, and you don't get to do it. and it gets to Tuesday and Wednesday, and you just don't do it. And it gets to the end of the week, and you just haven't done it again. So then you can say the same. I'll start on Monday again. So you already have suffered quite a lot over all those days that you told to yourself, yes, I will start, I will start, I will start, and you just didn't do it, right? And that can happen if you have experience. I'm sure that we all have experienced this in somehow or some way. This can happen for weeks, and weeks and weeks pass and weeks pass, and we tell ourselves, okay, I'll start, I'll sign up to the gym, or I'll buy the shoes, or like whatever it is, and then you do it, and then maybe you go once and then you don't go again. And that's a very common thing. So I relate this with procrastination in a way. So what I wanted to invite you in these situations, like imagine a situation in your life where you want to do something, you're not doing it. I invite you to become aware of the pain. First of all, let's go again with the gym situation. You put it off for some weeks. So just connect with the pain that you have been suffering since the moment you told yourself, I want to work out, and the moment you actually got to the gym and worked out. Let's say some days pass, or let's say some weeks, or in the worst case scenario, some months or years have even passed from when you told yourself, I want to work out, and from when you actually did it. And sometimes when this happens, it's like maybe there is a lot of resistance in yourself of like putting yourself out there and actually going to the gym. There's just a lot of resistance. It's just way easier to stay on the couch. Like you just came from work, you're super tired. Who wants to go to the gym if you're super tired, right? Or maybe that's a habit, and it becomes complicated because there is a resistance. Maybe it's like, yeah, I don't really want to go running, or you don't want to do cardio, or you don't want to do muscles, or like there's some laziness there. But just get this. How much of the suffering does it actually come from doing the workout itself? And how much does it come from the mind, especially in all the time in between where you set yourself for that goal and where you actually got to do that goal? So think about all the suffering that you had to have before this action happened. I give you another example. Imagine that you were in school and you had to do a paper. You had to do a paper on a book. You had to read a book and do the paper, and the deadline was on the 6th of October, whenever. And imagine that you got that for a month. So for a month, you knew that you had to do that assignment. And the weeks pass and the weeks pass and the weeks pass, and it got closer to the deadline. So if that was your case, you probably already suffer a lot from the moment you got the assignment until the time that you had to do the assignment. And then imagine that you actually did the assignment very close to the deadline, and you finish it and it's done. How much pain did you experience when you did the assignment itself? And how much pain did you experience in the time in between, from the moment that you thought about doing the assignment until the time that you did it? So I'm hoping that you're getting the point. So the invitation here is to actually observe within yourself the different kinds of suffering, the different kinds of pain that you experience in your life from when you want to do something and when you have to do something. There's also very different, right? Doing the dishes is something you have to do. Maybe you don't want to do it, but you have to do it, right? And maybe doing exercise is not something that you have to do, but it's something that you want to do because it's good for your health. And what kind of pain do you experience in the different situations in your life, especially if you have a habit of putting them for the next day, or putting them for the next week, or putting them off for some time? And again, I really want to invite you to become aware of that pain that you experience in between, that in-between pain. So I hope that you got that point. Otherwise, I am not too bright today, and maybe I'm not explaining myself super well, but I do have a lot of fun talking about this. So yeah, I give you the example of myself. Maybe that helps you to understand. So today, let's say today, I wanted to record the episode, and I decided that in the morning. that after dinner, I'm just going to record the episode. And throughout the day, I'm like, oh my God, I don't really want to record. I have no ideas. I have no topic. Like, oof, maybe it's better to record tomorrow. Like, oh, it's been a long day, a lot of work, workout. I just want to play a game. I just want to watch a movie. I just want to watch something and like not have to do it. Maybe I do it tomorrow. It wasn't the case, but imagine that it happened, because this happened for a very long time for me, where I would think about doing the podcast, but actually not getting to do it and just procrastinating on it. It happened for many years in my life when I did it first time. And then for this time around, it happened for like a month and a half. I set myself the goal of like, I think it was at the end of September I would record. And I started recording, I'd say like maybe first or second week of October. So there was a long process there of suffering already. And I was suffering a lot. So with this single episode and what happens in every episode, if I tell myself in the morning, okay, I'm recording this in the evening, from the morning until the evening, I would experience certain amount of pain already. Because like all the resistance in my body of like the discomfort of putting the camera in front of me and like all the discomfort of recording. So I suffer already a big deal. And if I were to do this for tomorrow, I would have suffered today entirely and tomorrow until I got to do the podcast. But the funny thing is that when you actually get to do the action, when I actually got to record the podcast, or when you actually got to do the dishes, or when you actually went to the gym, the action in itself, the dishes, the workout, the podcast, wasn't as painful as all the time in between. That's something that really strikes me. How interesting, how fascinating is the mind that it can make us suffer so much for something, or how the mind can create so much pain just from creating a story, just from thinking about doing something, than doing that certain action. Actually sending that email that you've been putting off for some time, or reaching out to that person, having that conversation, or whatever it is. The sending the email, the doing the dishes, having the conversation, doing the podcast, going to the workout, that action itself, I guarantee you, is not as painful as all the time that you spend thinking of doing that action. That's where, for me, the biggest amount of pain is. Maybe there is a lot of pain in doing the action, but all the hours and all the days in between thinking about it, that's where it creates for me the most amount of pain. So, and why do I say this? So many videos, so many things about procrastination. Just do it. Like, connect with your energy, your young energy, and be active and don't be soft, and just like get to do it, and like this sort of like military in a way energy of like getting to do it yourself, to do something, and finding motivation. I think it's really fantastic. But I believe that if you are very disconnected from yourself and you may not have full understanding of what's going on inside of you, and you just not aware of what's happening, then yeah, sure, you can take yourself out of bed and get up every day and just like do. But maybe there's some parts inside of you that are not feeling good about it, because you're not caring for yourself at the same time as finding the willpower to do things. And one way of caring for yourself, I believe, it's with this becoming aware of what's happening inside of you. Because yeah, there is one thing that I believe deeply in, which is parts, or parts work, that we have different parts of ourselves, and many of those parts are represented by a experience that we had when we were little. I want to call the whole thing kind of like the inner child inside of us, that child that didn't have that willpower to do that homework, or that child that didn't have the willpower to do some things and needed some help at a certain time in your life, and just that inner child just didn't find it at the right time. And maybe that experience is still inside of you. So yeah, of course, if you're procrastinating something, I can tell you, you know what? after you do this video, you write it down and you get to do it. Maybe you do, and maybe that's already enough. However, I do believe that if this happens in different parts of your life, and especially in severe cases, but also in very little cases, it is a great opportunity to get to know yourself, to get to know what's going on. And so going back to like this suffering of the story that you create of like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym on Monday, and then you don't do it. Then there's also this other consequence, which I believe it's one of the biggest pain one can experience. At least that's true for me, which is the disappointment. The disappointment that you set yourself to do something, you set yourself to go work out, and you didn't do it. You said that you were going to do it on Monday, and Monday came and you just didn't do it. And then you told yourself, okay, I do it Tuesday, and then it didn't happen. And you told yourself, I do it this week, and then it didn't happen, and it happened for the next week. So that feeling of disappointment that you are not able to commit to yourself, to when you set yourself for a goal that you cannot achieve it. And I don't want to condemn this feeling. I think it's beautiful, whatever you feel, it's super beautiful, but just become aware of how much pain there is in the time when you think about doing something and when you actually get to do it. And again, if you don't get to do it when you said yourself that you were going to do it, how much suffering is there? Another personal story, me with the podcast, like just thinking about it for so many years, how much suffering did I have? And when I actually got to do it, it wasn't as painful as all the suffering before, all the disappointment. Oh, I'm a piece of shit because I'm not able to do it. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to play another game. I'm disappointing myself. I'm just dragging on and dragging on. And I'm sure like this has happened with different things in your life. So like, again, this is not a video of like, just stop the video and get to do whatever you get to do. Like if you do that, it's fantastic. This is more a invitation to actually self-reflect outside of the story and actually become aware of the story in your mind. And this I will say many, many times because I really believe in it. The mind is so powerful, and like the name of this podcast, Beyond Ideas. Can you become aware of the story, the voice in your head, the thing that plays out in your mind regarding procrastination? Can you become aware of again, how much energy you spend with that voice, how much energy you spend with the story, disappointing yourself, failing yourself, not being able to go to the gym or work out or whatever else on Monday, next week, next year, when you're going to quit sugar, when are you going to quit caffeine, smoking, like whatever it is that we all have the different stories in our mind. And then when we procrastinate, just observe in your life. Especially don't even stop procrastinating. I would suggest you don't stop procrastinating. Keep on procrastinating because there's so much learning there. There's so much pain to be felt. And if you're able to actually start looking in your life at these different parts that want to do some things and is not able to do it, and just be with the pain, just be with it, because that's where the healing happens. That's how you actually get over procrastination, by actually being with those parts, being with the inner child inside of you, with the little kid that just want to be playing all the time and all day. The kid doesn't want to do that homework, or many kids didn't want to do it. The kid want to play PlayStation or whatever. The kid just want to have fun, play football, basketball, whatever it is, paint. The kid doesn't want to do that hard thing, the homework or whatever it is. So we all experience that somehow, somewhat. So now I believe that procrastination is a form of inner child wound. It's a form of being a fucking child in a way. So I, for myself, for some weeks before I started recording this podcast, again, I was just procrastinating. I was just with coping mechanisms, just watching a lot of TV and just like dragging on. But because I've been doing this work for a year now, like very intensely, this work of connecting with my adult self, like becoming my own father, and this work that I keep talking about in the videos, and I really recommend you to do. So I have connected with this adult, mature energy inside of me that is in constant negotiation with my inner child. So my inner child just wants to stay on the couch and watch another episode. And my adult self is like, okay, it's time to actually get it done. It's time to stop suffering there on the couch watching a movie, stop suffering thinking, oh, I need to record that episode. No, it's time to actually do it. And I remember before, like some weeks ago, when I actually recorded the first one, I actually said, okay, on Monday I'm gonna do it on Monday, and I actually didn't do it that Monday. And that Monday I spent like watching something for hours, like random YouTube videos, like rabbit hole kind of thing, feeling so bad at night, like, oh my God, even feeling some anxiety. I'm like, I disappointed myself, I didn't get to do it, like whatever it is. The next day in the morning, somehow, somewhat magically, my adult self, my adult energy told me that is enough. And just like that, I myself found that voice, found that adult energy, and said, that is enough. It is happening no matter what today. And that happened. And if you go back and watch that first episode, I haven't watched it again, but it's probably really, really bad because I didn't want to do it at all. Like, that's the last thing I wanted to do. But it was so important for me to actually connect with that energy, with that adult energy inside of me that actually helped me out, because I did a coaching session the week before and I was already working with this, with me being on the couch when I was a child, and my father telling me, you need to do your homework. And I'm like, no, I want to keep playing. I want to keep watching TV, and not finding that energy there when I was a child, not having those tools. But then observing that experience and then connecting with my adult self and being like, okay, you already watched one episode. Perfect. Now we're going to fucking do this. And that's it. I forgot about it. But that Tuesday in the morning, that inner voice just came super clear to me, and I had zero issue. Well, I had a lot of issues, but it was not super bad. And throughout the next 2 weeks, it was a bit like that many times. And I would wake up in the morning and I'll be like, oh my God, I gotta record and I have no idea what I'm gonna record. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. Like, I just don't wanna do it. Maybe I do it tomorrow. The mañana kind of thing, that there is a joke around it. But yeah, that's enough. I just cannot do it. I just cannot do it anymore. Of like putting it for tomorrow, because I realize how much suffering I have throughout the day and how much suffering I have if I put it off for the next day. Let's say I couldn't do it tonight. Let's say like something happened, like I said, I think in the beginning of the episode, that my microphone broke and I actually got too late, and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing it. But at least I spend the time to do it. And then, well, shit happens, life happens, and I do it tomorrow for sure. But it's not like I'll do it tomorrow because I feel lazy, I don't want to do it tonight. It's like, no, I tried to do it tonight, but it just didn't work out. Something happened in my life, and yeah, I don't know if you connect with my story, but that's what feels true to me. So I hope that my story can inspire you somehow in your journey, in how you deal with these things. Because like I said in many episodes, and I repeat it all the time, one of the best ways to deal with your life is to become aware. And one of the things you need to become aware of is the voice in your head. It's the story that you tell to yourself, the little fantasy that you tell to yourself, like that voice that you have inside of you that tells you, or that told me, yeah, it's going to be super hard to record, or it's going to be super hard to go to the gym, like, oh, but I'm tired, and like all these things. Just observe the voice. It's like, I have a voice in my head that just tells me things. And yeah, and become, be friend with your voice. Don't condemn it, don't shut it down, don't put it off, like again, like this, just do it, shut up, just do it. Yeah, sure, that works, but I don't think that's the right way of dealing with yourself, dealing with your inner child, dealing with your needs. Like sometimes you need care, you need affection, you need love. And like, can you give that to yourself? That's where you actually can beat the procrastination. Hold the little kid inside of you that just wants to play, just wants to scroll on the phone. Hold the little kid. Be like, okay, make a negotiation. It's like, how long do you want to do this? How long do you need to do this before we actually get to do the dishes or the homework or the laundry or the workout or whatever it is? All right, you play one game and then we do it. We do it together. And this is the adult self inside of you talking to the little self with the inner child inside of you. Just have that, in a way, that negotiation and show that love and care for the inner child. There's nothing wrong with the inner child. I hope that you got some value, some inspiration somehow, somewhat. I want to tell you a couple more stories and a couple methods to deal with procrastination that I believe it has actually helped me, and maybe it can help you. But yeah, I wanted to tell you this story that I heard somewhere on the internet, and I'm not sure the facts or anything like that. I don't actually care. But there was a time in my life where I was going through a lot of pain from love, a lot of pain from breakup. And it was a time where I was like, sometimes I was coping with the pain and not wanting to feel it, and with this procrastination, like, I'll feel it later, I'll watch a movie now, I don't want to cry, I don't want to suffer right now. I was really into this spirituality and this thing of like allowing the pain. And maybe one day we can talk about pain itself and heartbreak and all this if you're interested. But anyways, I was like watching videos or whatever, and I came across this idea of like the fastest way to go through pain is to actually go through it. The fastest way of healing pain or dealing with pain is to actually go through it. So like in this procrastination, you tell yourself you want to go to work out at the end of the day or like the next week or whatever, and you have all this time in between, you can get to do that action, and when you start thinking about it, and sometimes you get to that point and then you actually put it off for the next day. So I think it was buffaloes. So buffaloes, and I'm not sure if it's buffaloes, but let's say it's just buffaloes, like whichever animal, to be honest. When they gather together and there is a storm, when the storm is it's coming for them, they can already feel the pain of the storm, of like, oh, there's a storm coming. I don't know if I'm going to die. The buffalo doesn't know. So the behavior of the buffalo, it's actually, they go to the storm. They know that the storm can be a matter of death, a matter of pain, like it can be a really bad thing. And instead of running away from the storm, like many animals would do, or like one could think of, maybe I run away from the storm, and I don't have to suffer the storm, I don't have to deal with the pain of the storm. No, they go like, you know what, the storm is coming, I'm just gonna go through it. Because if I face it, if you face the pain of doing that action, like the buffalo just go through the storm, deal with the storm, get over it. The sooner the better. So like that's their behavior. And again, I don't know the facts, I don't know how true this story is, but it brought a lot of value to my life. With procrastination, with something you want to do with your life, it's kind of the same thing. Do you want to drag on, and suffer already so much until you actually get to do it? Or just get it done with? It's like, all right, so instead of suffering for years, I'm just going to do it now. Or, of course, you can always make a choice. You are free. You can always choose. Of course, the mind seems that it's always making choices and the pain is inevitable and all that, but you can always make a choice. You can actually say, so here's the way of also dealing with procrastination and with pain. Let's go back to the example of myself, of the podcast. I wake up in the morning, I think of recording the podcast, and throughout the day, I can think about it and I can suffer so much from it until the moment I sit down and record, right? There is another way, which is like being in the present moment. And most suffering actually comes from thinking about the future. Thinking about when am I going to record the podcast, thinking about when you're going to go work out, or when you're going to send that email, whatever it is. Yeah, so that's a future action. So if you set yourself, okay, I'm going to, like physically, I just cannot do it, I have to work, whatever, but my free day, it's in 3 days, and that's when I'm going to do that workout. So if you tell yourself that and you are suffering until the moment that you get to do the workout, that's the normal thing that we all go through that. But imagine that you are in the present moment, that you are already enlightened, you are so much into spirituality that you are very aware of what is the present moment. So in the present moment, are you suffering? Maybe. Maybe you're thinking, okay, in 3 days, you have to work out all this time and the workout and whatever, like you're creating a story. Okay, maybe you're suffering. But if you're actually connecting with your breath, which your breath doesn't have thoughts, like in meditation, and if you just take a breath right now, just do it like in that breath, there is no suffering. There is no, you're not suffering for what you're going to do in 3 days. That is a story of the mind, for sure. So again, going back to this podcast example, just put it like, let's say podcast dishes, like whatever example you want to take. Like that's something I realized. Okay, I wake up in the morning, I tell myself I need to record at night. I'm creating suffering in all this time in between, and I am being in the future. But I tell myself, okay, I am suffering for something I'm going to do in the future. That's a great story. That's a story of the mind. Well, I let the mind play, but I don't get attached to it. And this happens sometimes, and sometimes I'm not able to do it. But when it happened, like today, I'm like, okay, you know what? My mind tells me that I'm going to suffer a lot when I get to sit down and record the episode and not know what to say and all of that. My mind tells me that, all right, great, thanks for the information. And you know what? I'm going to suffer, but I'm going to suffer when I actually sit down, when I actually get to the workout, when I actually get to the dishes, like whenever, that's when you actually going to suffer. That's what I tell myself. I choose to suffer in the present moment. I am not going to suffer way before time because it's just not worth it. Why am I going to suffer all day for something that I'm going to do at night? Let me just suffer at night and live the rest of the day free. And that works out wonders, my friend. When you have to do something, you set yourself to start working out on Monday and you have like 3-4 days in between, you can suffer these 3-4 days that we've been talking the whole episode, and that's a common thing. Or if you are, maybe you are not enlightened, you don't need to be enlightened, but yeah, like enlightened people are very good at this. But yeah, let's say that you make the choice and you're like, oh, okay, instead of suffering for 4 days, I'm actually only gonna suffer at the moment of the workout. I'm gonna suffer in the present moment. And yeah, and I hope that you actually resonate with this because I believe it's very easy to do and it's fantastic. It's one way, it's the best coping mechanism. Be in the present moment. It's not about scrolling on social media. It's like telling to yourself, I'm gonna suffer when the moment comes. Before the moment comes, not gonna suffer. No, 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 no. When my mind comes like, yeah, you've been thinking for years and now you're gonna do it in 3 days and you're gonna feel like whatever it is, like, thank you, mind, for creating a wonderful story. Become aware of the story, observe it, and it's like, yeah, I'm not the story. I'm breathing. Sorry, I'm breathing. I'm breath. Wonderful. There is no stories in breath. There's no thoughts. There's no nothing. There's just breath. Doesn't need to have a name. So yeah, and if you connect with this, just watch previous episodes. I talk about this all the time. I love the topic, and it really helps in life to think this way. So yeah, I'm checking if there more things. Of course, there's so many more things I could talk about this, and it would even be so much easier if I had someone in front of me and we could just had a conversation about this. But yeah, I hope that you got the point. I hope that there are some things in this episode that actually help you. Maybe I try to recap before I hit stop. And just let's imagine that you're procrastinating with something in your life or that you had in the past. There's something that you're dragging on in your life. Like what can you do about it actually? Well, first of all, you don't need to do anything. There's an episode about it. It's very cool. I recommend you to watch it. But yeah, you don't need to do anything. And if you want to do anything, the first thing I would do is to just be present, to just observe. Even better than that, just breathe. And the problem is not a problem anymore. But of course, it won't disappear like that. So just be present, and not be present like a cliche and do meditation and the problems go away, but just like, yeah, you're here right now, and there's something you need to do in 2 hours, or there's something you need to do in 2 days, or in 5 days, or 1 week. Wonderful. Well, until that day, choose how much you want to suffer. Or maybe you don't have a choice. Maybe your mind is just, there's a very important event happening in your life in 5 days, in 7 days, or whatever, and you're going it over and over and over. Okay, wonderful. Observe the mind, observe the story. Just realize how much energy are you putting into that event before the event actually happened. How much energy you're putting into, I need to go to the gym, and before you go to the gym, how much energy, how much suffering are you having already? If you are already able to change that mindset and to actually observe yourself like this, you're already a million steps forward. You're already gonna suffer a lot less from going to the gym, and especially from thinking about going to the gym. You're just gonna suffer a lot less if you are just able to observe the mind and become the story, and become aware of the story. Then you can be curious, you can be curious. Curiosity for me, it's a way of detaching from your mind, detaching from the story of your mind. It's like, okay, yeah, my mind tells me this, how curious. Yeah, I have a mind. I feel disappointed when I do this, or whatever it is. Just become curious. And yeah, and again, also procrastination in a way, it's about doing it. So another way of like, yeah, it's like you become aware of your story. You just like, yeah, you're kind to yourself. You realize whatever you need to realize, but also you find that willpower inside of you, and that energy inside of you, that mature self, that father energy, that mother energy. In my case, it's a lot about being my own father, and observing, like, when you are in your inner child, when your inner child is telling you you don't really want to go do that thing, or you just want to drag on that event, or whatever it is, that is a lot of inner child. So it's like, and the inner child wants to play, wants to have fun, wants to, like, all these qualities of little children, and that you also have when you're an adult. So yeah, observe that, observe the inner child inside of you and how beautiful it is. But if you want to go a step farther, it's like, yes, start to connect with that mature self inside of you, and have a negotiation with the inner child, being like, hey, I know you want to play another game, but we are going to do this at this time at 6. So you have until 6 to do whatever you want. And then at 6, we're going to do it. Or you have until Monday, or you have until Tuesday. Or it's like, okay, maybe the habit is like working out, but you also want to eat better. It's like, don't start too, okay, eat so bad before, but you're going to do this one. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I hope that you got it. Like, which is like, yeah, connect with this father energy inside of you and negotiate with your inner child. And again, this is easier said than done. Possibly not. Sometimes it takes some inner work. It takes some, working with emotions and processing things that have been there for some years, and this kind of thing that I talk about all the time. But yeah, I mean, I hope that there's something that you got out of this video, some inspiration, something that you can take for your life. And if you can't, and you just spend or wasted, I don't know, like 40 minutes of your time listening to this, you're also wonderful. Whatever it is. So yeah, whatever you got away from it, I celebrate you. I am very thankful for you for giving this time to yourself, for learning something about your life, for taking the time to invest in yourself, to learn about things that are happening in you, and to get some new ideas. And let's see if you're procrastinating on or not. Like, I don't think that matters. I think the most important part is, to get to know yourself, to get to know how you're working. And again, you will go to the gym one day, or maybe not, or whatever you set yourself to do. That's okay. But again, I encourage you to just like become aware of yourself, of your emotions, especially become aware of the story in your mind. If you do that, your life is just going to be a lot better, I believe. So yeah, again, thank you so much for this time, for listening to this. Hope you got something good out of it. And and if you did and you want to support me, you can subscribe, you can like this post, you can share, you can comment. Like, the internet thing, just do it. It supports a lot and you don't need to pay. So yeah, that would be fantastic. And for myself, I also want to celebrate myself for putting myself down, sitting down after all my procrastination of like, oh, I don't want to record, I don't want to do this, and my inner child is going crazy and the microphone not working. And again, I don't know how, but I did it and I am so happy about it. Again, all the suffering that I had before I sat down, it was so much more than actually sitting down. I actually had fun doing it, and it is beautiful and it is wonderful. So yeah, I celebrate myself for that, and I celebrate you, and thank you so much. And I invite you to take a breath, and that's it, my friend. That's all you need. That's all you need. Just take a breath. No mind, no nothing. You can do that as many times as you want throughout the day. That's all it matters. Breathing. All right. Thank you so much. I love you and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Ciao. I did it.